I think the biggest mistake people are making is that they are not posting on social media their journey. They're only posting the highlights. You can literally become, I think, a billionaire by if you just share the journey. Because if you're in business for 30 years, start sharing the journey. Share the ups, share the downs, and share where you're at in its reality in its entirety, broad and niche, and let people follow the journey.
Hey, JB is in the house for another episode of the Wolf's Den. And you guys know I try to mix up the guests here with some people who are really just top-notch business people, and then with some just really cool people who are just hysterical, and we get some laughs from the just, great energy and stuff, right? Today is a business person, like extraordinary. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. You guys know that I know, just a tremendous amount about how to make money, how to market, how to sell, especially. And I always say, guys, that, my specialty is sales, right? And, I had that wacky podcast with Greg Cardone where, like, it was the would-be salesperson knew nothing about sales. And I say, oh, you're a great marketer. Well, the truth is that, and this was clarified for me, is that it really wasn't that Grant was a great marketer. He was very smart to hire a really great marketer, right? So there's these group of guys that are somewhat behind the scenes, but also they become famous in their own right because they break through and they become famous and they just provide massive value. Well, so what do you think I do when I want to really blow up my market, which I made a decision this year, just recently, that I'm going to just take over the market because I have the greatest product out there for sales training, right? So I go to hire the best person in the world for that. And that, my friends, is Mark Lack, who is sitting across from me. Mark, what's up? So Mark Lack is an expert. Like, he's an expert's expert. I hired him. You get it? All right? So he's an expert in personal branding and marketing, in the sense of how do you really take someone either that has no brand, build a brand around them, and then market the heck out of it so it just becomes massive, scalable, right? I'm not talking small, I'm talking big, right? And then also, people like myself with a brand, how do you just, blow the thing up, right? So Mark is awesome, and my goal, my goal today is I'm going to get Mark, I'm going to make him spill the beans here, because this is a very high-paid guy, as you can imagine. I paid a guy a fortune, right? So the goal here is to try to I just want to make this a content
I'm ready.
Rich thing to really know, because he's giving me so many insights and strategies of how to take, what's, you guys know, is the best sales system in the world and bring it around the world. So Mark, all right, before we get started though with the strategies, a couple things about you that just cracked me up. Number one, I just found out today, I know you for a while, I just found out today you have like this weird backstory. Like Mark's first success is becoming famous in a sport that you probably never even knew was a sport, but a guy made $300,000 a year when he was in high school. What were you doing when you were in high school?
So first of all, that is one of the best introductions ever. I will be chopping that up and using that in my marketing somehow.
There you go.
But yeah, first of all, great to be on the show, and for everybody here, excited to spill the beans on some great tips for everybody. But, my weird hobby that we were talking about outside by the ocean was paintball. It was the thing that I think most guys have probably played growing up, or at least have seen it before. One of those weird things you might go do once every blue moon on the weekend with some buddies, especially if you're young. And it was the weirdest thing. It was the only thing in my life that really gravitated towards me. And I was like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be good at. And I failed my way through school. So there wasn't anything in my life up until paintball of around the age 14 that just felt like it gave me purpose and meaning. And you know what happens when you find purpose and meaning if you run with it. And for me, that's what it was.
So, all right, so you got into paintball. I didn't know there was a sport that existed, but actually how'd you make money? Explain the financial side of it.
So I make the joke that it was just a high-paid hobby.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, like I was telling you, it was a professional sport, but there's a lot of weird professional niches. And unfortunately, it didn't get, as big as I would have liked. I look back and you and I were chatting about tennis, and I was like, man, if I could have been pro at something, I would have gone back and probably done tennis or something else, which, by the way, you and I will get like a behind the scenes. You and me will challenge each other.
Totally. The point you made, though, about paintball, which is interesting, is that because of the nature, like with sports that really take off with lots of viewers, there's like one basketball, one tennis ball, one soccer ball. So the camera follows the ball and follows the action. Versus with paintball, it's very hard for people to watch at home because like you don't know
Chaos.
It's chaos, right?
Yeah. So you asked how do people really make money? Well, there's a couple different ways. One was through sponsorships. The other one was through selling your own gear from the sponsors. So sponsors could either pay you cash and or they could pay you in gear. And gear is thousands of dollars, and we would always make the joke that I'd say, oh, I ripped my pants or my jersey or broke this thing, or oh, my gun stopped working, and you just get more of them,
right?
And you could sell the guns for a few $1,000 and the jerseys and gear for a couple $100, and it added up. And winning was the biggest primary source of income. If you won a tournament at the pro level, it could be $50,000, but that'd be divided amongst a team of players. So
how many people in a team?
7 to 10. But
paintball guy. I mean, they have something for everything these days.
Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking would be an interesting way to monetize that. Would be like if somehow you could make it like with the electronic sports somehow, where like people are playing virtually for the players. And there's got to be some way because
I'm sure that's the future.
Like, what do you think about that whole thing of like people make money? They're not real athletes. They actually play
video games.
Yeah,
teenagers are making millions, and then now kids who aren't making millions can go to their parents and be like, "Look, you can make money playing video games." But it's just the future, right? It's like sports is such an easy thing, and now it's called esports. Right. The digital economy of sports. High school kids are making millions of dollars playing video games. It's just crazy, the evolution. So,
all right, just hold that thought right there, my friend. I want to pay for our overhead here. Time to pay the bills. Here we go. Ready for this one? Stamps.com. All right, listen. I don't know if you're anything like me, but if there's one thing I hate when it comes to like just moving through life, it's going to the post office. I can't take it. They move so slowly. The lines are so long. No offense. Listen, I love my postman. He's the coolest guy ever. I'm friends with the guy. He's an awesome guy, but he comes to me. I don't go to the post office. That is something that I have no time for. And frankly, it's something that my people that work for me have no time for. Time is money. Now, in the olden days, you really didn't have much of a choice. You can get this like weird Pitney Bowes machine they used to have. It's inefficient, expensive, right? Now, with Stamps.com, your computer, your desktop, or your laptop, it turns into your own personal post office. Imagine that. So I don't care whether you're a small company, a mom and pop, you're a larger company with a warehouse shipping out thousands and thousands of packages a day, you need this service. Time is money, convenience is money, and let me tell you something, they do a great job. They really do. Now, a couple particulars here. Number one, you get 5 cents, not 5%, 5 cents, even more, off every first class stamp, and up to 40% off all your priority mail. Ready for the cost of this whole thing? You're gonna love this. 4-week free trial. How could you go wrong? What's the worst that can happen? Give this a shot. Check out what it's like to have your own personal post office that can ship out 1 package a day, 1,000 packages a day. You got to check this out, all right? In addition, you sign up now, you get this 4-week free trial. You get a 5 cents off of the first class stamp. You get 40% off, up to 40% off priority mail, free digital scale as well, all right? So here's the information. You got to go to stamps.com. All right, go to stamps.com, get your 4-week free trial plus free postage, a digital scale, no long-term commitment. What does that tell you? When a company offers me a ridiculously good deal like that, free trial, free products, and no long-term commitment, I got to say, yeah, do all that, and they got to sign up a year contract. Different story. Here, there is none. That's how confident this company is that you'll love the product, because you will. Trust me on that. All right, stamps.com. And again, you want to enter Wolf at the top. And here's a microphone, right? Yeah. Enter Wolf there. And believe me, you will be glad you did. All right, here we go. An oldie, but a great one. This is one of my favorites of all. Listen, obviously, Oracle, NetSuite, massive company, started by Larry Ellison, just a legend, this guy, one of the richest men in the world, worth over $50 billion. I think this guy knows a little bit about business, making money, and how to create systems with computers and software that just solve problems, because that's what Oracle does on the highest level, right? Here's the deal. As a business owner, small, medium-sized business, right? A bookkeeper, CEO, anyone that's really managing numbers, if you're not keeping track of your numbers, you're not on top of your numbers, then they're on top of you, crushing you, destroying you. And here's the problem. We all know that you have to keep track of your numbers. It's a must in today's day and age where, margins can be razor thin. You have to have quick reaction times. And the problem is, while all of these things do exist in various shapes and forms, different plugins that integrate together, the problem is that when they're created by separate companies, they don't always plug in that effectively. The plugins don't quite match. Like the prongs don't fit in. Essentially, it's the metaphor, right? That's why Oracle NetSuite created this product, which is basically a fully integrated, all-in-one accounting solution for your company. It allows you to keep track of payables, receivables, shipping, sales-related items, cash flow, anything that you could need in your business is all managed by this one product that integrates everything together into a seamless solution that allows you to essentially make more money. Because based on the decisions that you're going to get from this accounting software, it'll give you access to numbers at your fingertips that you never had before with this ease. And it's that intuitive. So once you have that data, what does that mean for you in terms of profits? It means you can use that data to make more money. And that's why Oracle is one of the most well-respected companies in the entire world. Bottom line. They've been my sponsor for a while. I just got to tell you, people that use this product, they love it. You hear me? They love it. If you're a business owner, you got to at least give this a look. And here's the deal. I want you to go to this website. It's netsuite.com. All right? netsuite.com. And you're going to enter Wolf, okay? netsuite.com/Wolf. And you're going to get 7 key strategies to growing your profits. It's a free manual. All right. And this is Larry Ellison's company. This is not like, Joe Schmo down the block. Oh, let me tell you how to grow your company. It's a guy worth $50 billion who lives like a bon vivant. This guy lives a life, man. Okay. He's the man. All right. So you want this. You want to check it out. You want to go to this website as soon as you get a chance. Okay. netsuite.com/Wolf. And you'll get this free manual, the 7 steps. Okay. Actually, 7 key strategies to growing your profits. Okay? Don't let this pass you by. If you're in business or you work with numbers, you got to at least give it a look. Remember this, an Apple phone. What makes Apple so awesome? You know why? Because they make every component, hardware, software, it all integrates perfectly. That's what NetSuite has done in this space. All right? Check it out, netsuite.com/Wolf. All right? You find out everything about this product, get your free manual on 7 steps to blowing up your profits. 7 strategies, all right? It's worth it. Trust me on this. All right, so let's cut to the chase here. You're an expert in marketing, and you're taking my brand and you're, taking it basically, and I'm lucky, right? I have a movie. It's sort of different for me because I'm well-known. Let's start, because there's so many viewers out there, right? And I believe, believe that most people, not everyone, but most people have maybe not their passion, so to speak, it's something they're really good at, something they excel at, that if they want to build a business around it, right, they can do that. In today's economy, it's really easy in the how-to space. I'm not talking about monetizing your passion, because I don't always believe that's the best way to make money. It's like, it's monetizing what you're good at, not your passion. That's my belief. But let's start from the beginning, right? So what do? You're a young guy. You're, let's say, in the age of, 20 to 40 years old, right? And It's good for everyone, I'm sure, but let's just a big viewership there. So how does it start? Like, what is it? You're a guy, you're good at, what are you good at? What's a typical way that someone goes out into the world these days and gets rich?
So the first thing you need to do is look at a problem that you can solve. Don't even necessarily look at products and services, because at the end of the day, when you peel back the onion, a product and a service simply solves a problem. That's why somebody's buying it. A product or a service is helping helping somebody move towards a source of pleasure and an experience that generates a positive feeling, or they're buying a product and a service to avoid the potential of pain. Think insurance, for example.
Of course.
And so you're always buying a product and a service because it's helping you solve a problem. You want to go and eat food because it solves the problem of being hungry. And then there's different types of food. There's different ways to get food, different experiences, different flavor profiles. So at the end of the day, everything comes to solving a problem. If you want to get paid a bunch of money, you need to solve lots of problems or one problem really well.
For a lot of people.
Exactly. You need to either solve a couple problems really well for a couple people, or a problem like a billionaire always says, right? You need to solve a problem that a billion people have. And so luckily the riches are in the niches. And so nowadays it's obviously a lot easier to just find a small niche that you can go and capitalize on. A big one that a lot of people are familiar with nowadays is figuring out how you can help businesses use social media and the internet.
Digital marketing.
Exactly. So a trend is something that usually happens and then eventually stops.
Right.
But during the moment that it happens, there's usually a lot of opportunity. And so right now, one of the huge opportunities of a trend, we don't know how long it'll last, but it's been around for quite a while, and I don't see it going away anytime soon, is the trend of social media. There's billions of people on social media. From 2009, there was less than 1 billion, and from 2019, there's over 2 billion.
Right.
On track to be 3 billion.
Ooh.
So the growth has been exponential in the last 10 years. Almost 3 billion people have gone online. That's a huge opportunity.
And do you attribute the successes to the use of smartphones? Like, is that really what it's about?
I think it's an all-encompassing expansion of technology and connectivity. People have become addicted to wanting things immediately, and they've become really heavily reliant upon having access to everything. Like, I don't think a lot of people know what to do if they had to flag a taxi because Uber's app goes down. For real though, it's like, what do you do when you need to get a taxi? That's even outdated.
Hey, taxi! I remember, right? No, it's true though. When's the last time you called a taxi?
How do you order food without Grubhub? Like, these are the real things where it's like our smartphones give us connectivity and instant gratification.
I fucking hate Grub. You know why I hate it? Because it turns me into a lazy bastard. I used to love going out for dinner. But they make it so easy.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the reality right there, is how things have gotten easier. And what I've realized is that the more technology makes things easy, we become, and the society becomes, more consumer based. And so people love to consume things. We're a consumer generation. Millennials are consumers. We consume more content, more things, more stuff faster than any other generation has ever in the history of the world. And it's because of the advancement in technology. And so how that correlates back to people making money is, if you recognize all the different ways that people are consuming, what that really means is you need to get on the other side of the table, meaning you need to be creating. And so on social media, there's billions of people going on there daily, dozens of times, spending over an hour a day on average. Some demographics spend over 3 hours a day going on social media. The stats nowadays show the average person touches their cell phone over 2,600 times, touches it in some capacity to see what's going on. What time is it? Did anyone text me? Check notifications. Per day. 2,600 times the average person touches their phone, and the average person logs on Facebook or Instagram over 12 times a day and spends about 45 to 60 minutes on there. That means, as a business owner, you have 45 to 60 minutes of their attention possibility. You have about 12 times a day that they're going on their phone device, and you could be on there. And so there's massive opportunity where billions of people are consuming content. So as a business owner, you not only want to capitalize on that rapid expansion of growth to run advertisements, but also understand from a psychological context perspective, which really just means the intention-based reason behind why someone's checking their phone is not for your fucking advertisements.
This is exactly what I think your genius is, and why I hired you, by the way.
Yeah.
The first time we met, you showed me something that I knew was, like I said, I knew it, but to see someone that really lives it and does it and understands it's a different level. So you brought up this point. Let's clap. I want to dig into this one point. You basically, that the idea was, yes. So I think it's obvious there's this huge attention being put onto this device, right? And it's on a couple of platforms. Let's just look right now, Facebook and Instagram, right? Let's just use those two for right now, right? I know there's others, but those two, right? And would you say that the biggest mistake that people make is they look at it as okay, and I made this mistake, I'll admit it, before I met you, right? Was that I look, it's okay, great. What a great place to run ads because I get my ads in front of my viewers. The problem is, though, people don't go onto social media to look at ads, they go on to consume content.
Correct.
So, why don't you start there? Let's really dissect that and explain how you sort of bridge that gap because at the end obviously you got to monetize content.
Yeah.
So take us through that process starting with, people are looking, what do they want to see?
So again, like you were just saying, to riff off of that, people are going on social media to consume content, to see what friends have engaged with their stuff and anything along those lines that have nothing to do with going on there with a credit card. And I like to make the joke at seminars that I speak at, and it gets people laughing, is I pull out my credit card and I say, has anybody ever said, hey, Jordan, I'm going on Facebook. You want me to get you something? I'm going on YouTube. Do you want me to grab you anything? But earlier when we were here, it was like somebody said, hey, I'm going to Starbucks. Do you want me to get you something?
Right.
Because that's normal.
Right.
But nobody ever has a credit card and says, I'm going on Facebook. Do you want me to pick you anything up?
But you might say, I'm going on to Amazon. Do you need anything?
Correct.
Different things.
And so it's understanding that as a business owner, if you were to say, let's sell my products on Amazon, because people are literally saying I'm going on Amazon. To shop. But to be a business owner that's been indoctrinated and heard through people like myself in the community that you need to be running ads online, they all have tried and most have failed. When I speak at events, I say, raise your hand if you've tried running ads online and it didn't work. And everybody's hand goes up. That's why they're at the marketing conference. And so the point is, most people have heard they need to run ads online. They've tried running ads online and it didn't work. And the reason why is because of a few things. This isn't a marketing necessary coaching lesson right now for people, but the intention behind why somebody's doing something needs to resonate with how you're going about the intention of what you're creating. So if they're not going on there to buy your product, selling your product, you need to be a lot more methodical with. So when it comes to content, business owners should be producing content that their audience will benefit from and wants to consume, but we call it the Trojan horse. People know if Coca-Cola or General Electric or any other company we could name, if they're producing content, people know why businesses would produce content and why. It's to sell you something. Why else would a business sell or produce content? So the Trojan horse that we call is you have either partnership deals with influencers who have followings and they help produce content with you, or you as the CEO of your company or leader of your company and face and public figure of the company, you use your personal brand in alignment with your business brand. So Richard Branson is obviously the CEO and person who's the face of Virgin. Elon Musk for Tesla and his companies. Steve Jobs was the guy for Apple. Ronald McDonald, a fictitious character for McDonald's. And it goes on and on. Mark Cuban for some of his companies. Shark Tank's made a lot of those wealthy entrepreneurs recognize the power of a personal brand. And even down to the small level, there's this whole influencer trend right now where these young people from all over the world have found little niches to make huge viral videos and content where people follow them for funny videos, comedy videos, little skit videos, whatever it is. And now these young people have figured out how to build multi-million-dollar income streams. I don't want to necessarily call it a business. They're generating money, but they don't really have a business. And they get companies to pay them. And so there's this whole trend right now where smart celebrity brands are recognizing how they can cash in big. People like Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, is one of the highest paid actors because he's got 150 million followers on social media. And so he's able to go and negotiate bigger deals because he can promote to his following. So what if you didn't have to pay for ads? What if you already had your target audience consuming your content all the time? Then it would be very easy for you to invite them to something like Oprah Winfrey as an example. You never really see her sell or market anything, but she's worth $4 billion. How? Well, she's done an incredible job, one of the best in the world, at doing 3 decades of producing content that people have become obsessed with consuming, and it resonates with them. It makes them feel like they know her in such a way where when she does ever offer something, it's to an audience of people that know, like, trust, and even love her. And so when you're running an ad, it's usually because people are not ready to buy. They have to be smoothed over, sold over, marketed to. And so personal branding and content marketing, the way I look at it is if you can create almost this indoctrination through every single day, hitting people with content that makes them feel good, it entertains them, Maybe it makes them laugh. Maybe it motivates them or inspires them. Maybe it educates them and gives them one little breadcrumb that leads them closer to the outcome they want. Just like a product or a service from a business can solve the problem. As an example, a business could sell products and services to help you lose weight and get in shape. A personal brand could provide content and teach you how to lose weight and get in shape. And some of the biggest influencers online are in the health and wellness space. They show photos of them in great shape that inspires people, and they show their before and after.
But it's not selling products.
It's not selling products.
Right.
And so they are teaching their tips and tricks on exercises to do, supplements to take, products that they endorse and they recommend you take. They give you diet and exercise guidance, and it's all for free through their YouTube channel, their Instagram, or their Facebook. And they're literally teaching you how to get in the best shape of your life for free. Big businesses try running ads online, realize that people aren't on there to buy health and wellness products. So their best marketing strategies, like First Form with Andy Frisella, very rarely do you see a First Form advertisement. Instead, you see every big influencer who's a fitness person sponsored by First Form, promoting First Form. So I'm following 100 fitness experts. They're all teaching me health and wellness stuff, and they all endorse First Form. So me, as a consumer, I'm only going to think First Form when I'm going to buy health and wellness. That's like a plug for Andy if he's listening. But it's like...
He's coming on the podcast, I think, in the next few weeks.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So it's a really...
So he's scheduled, right? I think, yeah, he's scheduled, yeah.
Perfect.
He's a great guy.
He's going to crush it.
Yeah, he's great.
And he's done an amazing job of building a personal brand as well, where he's got 1 million followers. And, he hasn't monetized it at all until recently, where he launched a mastermind and a membership and did, I think around 8 figures. And that's because he's got so many people who know, like, trust, love, and respect him because they see the extension of his business brand through his personal brand. Mm-hmm. And people follow him because he's not just posting a bunch of fluff. But if you follow him or you or anybody who really understands the power of creating value through content,
right,
that's how you're going to impact people.
So it's about putting legitimate value out there,
yeah,
especially like in the how-to space. So when I put stuff out there, it's about putting really good stuff out there that actually helps people,
exactly,
and not expecting anything in return, but that they'll want to watch your next video because it's awesome, right?
Exactly, and then making sure that what I look at is I call them 2 different categories of content. One is niche, which is going to make you an expert and authority figure in your industry. So for you, it'd be any time that somebody's consuming content from you on the subject of sales, building rapport, having certainty, overcoming objections, myth busters about sales industry. Anytime you're teaching about sales, that would be categorized under the niche category of content because that's your field.
Right.
And that's when you're going to be able to serve people at a higher level than just your free content if they choose to join your membership or your certification program. And so your niche content is on the subjects that you have products and services for, so it naturally ascends people up. And you eventually, after years and years of producing valuable niche content, people will see you as an expert.
Sure.
So if you've got thousands of pieces of content on sales, anytime I go on the internet, your show, your book, everything, it's all sales. Eventually, you build your brand as the sales expert because of your niche content. But a lot of people only do that. And the problem is people don't become obsessed with you and your brand and your content when it's only the real estate guy, only the sales guy. Because who are the people that you love most? Probably people who also share the left side of the content strategy, which I refer to as broad content.
Right.
What are your values? What are your beliefs? Where did you just travel to? How was it? What's going on in your personal life? Sharing things that are broad enough that make the world relate to you.
Give you an example. I posted a picture of my son's birthday of me holding my son.
One of your highest performing pieces of content.
And blew every...
Right?
It's so interesting, right? And we were just saying, it's like crazy.
And so the reason why that works is because of the psychology of it relates to everybody. And so I make sure that when I work with people, as you know, we focus on niche content. I mean, I'm literally looking at the whiteboard. We drew some stuff out. So the niche content establishes you as the authority, but that's it. The broad content of you posting a photo like you just shared or something else that's related to your personal life, your beliefs, your values, the fact that you like to play tennis, the fact that you just went on vacation, and all these things going on in your life, that's what creates the connection.
Interesting.
That creates the intimacy with your audience where it feels like they know you.
Like with Oprah, so it's a perfect example of that, right?
Perfect. She focused more on the broad stuff.
Yeah.
And so what I say is broad content connects you to the world and makes you a celebrity. Niche content connects you to your industry and makes you an authority.
You know what it's like? It's like a weird analogy. It's almost like it's like the TV series where like there's the episode each week which has a specific problem they're solving. There's also a theme running where you're connecting with the characters. And
Exactly.
we also have this. There's an overarching thing that they're going through a show together.
Yeah.
But then there's something happens each week that's the episode.
Yeah. There
Right?
you go. Perfect.
Yeah, it's interesting. So like with Oprah, it would be like that. You almost do her own struggles with her weight loss and her own insecurities as she's doing it for other people,
And
right?
inevitably, she's got equity, I believe, in one of those weight loss companies.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So how does so no, it's totally makes sense. It's intuitive, right? So what's the split between if you want to be deliberate about this? How does someone actually go about doing it? Do you start niche and then mix in 10% or 20%?
I would find a good balance of maybe if I were to look at your news feed and your timeline and I were to go through it all, there should be a rough 50-50, 60-40, 60% leaning more, maybe even on the broad side.
Wow.
Because if you look at somebody like Gary Vaynerchuk, who's blowing up on social media for a multitude of reasons. One, he invests a lot of money to grow, which is a huge factor. The other one is that he has so much broad content that it really relates to a lot of people.
Give me an example of broad content
So
for Gary.
Yeah, so Gary doesn't very rarely ever talk about his marketing agency, which is where he makes most of his money publicly, right? His Gary, Vayner Media company that generates a couple $100 million a year for his marketing agency. He very rarely goes out there and says, hey guys, I'm going to teach you marketing advice, even though he very well could. And then he could sell marketing courses and do all of that. Gary went for the celebrity route, and he always says, I'm going to be one of the biggest online entrepreneurs. Just watch, I'm going to blow up. And he has. He's 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, 6 million followers. He keeps growing. Number one, he invests a lot for that growth.
Right.
Number two, he's producing so much broad content that almost has nothing to do with his businesses and his niches of how he profits. And because if he did, he probably wouldn't have as many people follow him because let's be honest, you're not going to have 6 million people follow you for marketing advice. That's why none of the marketers have 6 million followers. It's the people who produce funny content. And
So what would be an example of, because I don't follow Gary.
Gary says a lot like the same 12 things, not in a disrespectful way, but he repeats a lot of the same things because he's found those narratives work well. He says your 20s don't matter. Wait until you get into your 30s, because a lot of his followers are young. So he knows he produces content for them. He'll say, respect your parents. He'll say, work hard. He just repeats a lot of the same like foundational basic stuff.
Sure.
Perception and awareness is everything. And he repeats things that everyone could see, hear, and listen to and go, that relates to me in some way.
General truths that are basically inarguable truths.
Broad. It's very broad is how I refer to it.
Let me ask you a question. So one of the things, and I have nothing but respect for Gary.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
so, the problem I had I had to silence him on my social media, not because I didn't think he's got value to offer, because I really do think he's a smart guy because he's successful. I found that he was dominating my news feed, and it bothered me. And maybe because I'm older, but does that not bother? See, like to me, it says, "Wow, that's over the top for me. It's just too much."
Because he posts like 7 times a day, or his
I was
team
like, I don't
does.
want to see so much stuff from someone. Like, how do you what's the balance? Or is that just me because I'm older? Younger people just know to scroll past. What is that? You follow me?
Yeah, so it's a couple things. Number one, you've either at some point shown some level of engagement. You've liked, maybe even commented or shared or watched his videos, even if you didn't press play, if you hovered over it and just watched it without audio and the transcriptions and everything, the algorithm will say, you've engaged with this, so it shows interest, intent, and we're going to show you more of it.
I'm trying to think. I think what happened maybe once is I was intrigued because he cursed a lot, and I was like, he seems to be copying me a little bit. I thought I didn't know who he was, the guy.
He's just outspoken like you, so
right. You didn't know, and then I it just got overwhelming to my newsfeed.
Yeah. So if at one point, again, right, we don't know, but I'm just saying there's 2 reasons. One, he posts a lot, and his content is similar to other content you've engaged with. That could be a reason. So if you like cat videos, you might see another cat video from someone else. So if you've liked someone's content who's like Gary, his could show up more. Maybe you're following him, so it automatically shows it to you. Maybe you've watched or engaged in stuff, so it shows it to you. All of these things, the algorithm is just doing its best job to try to show you content that you want to engage with. So if you don't like your news feed, this is for everybody. If you don't like your news feed, it's because you're either following the wrong people and it's showing it to you because you follow them. You've engaged with content similar to that content, so stop engaging with it. Or, your news feed should be controlled by your behavior. And so only follow and engage with content that you want to see more of from those people and content like it.
Well, I guess also he's probably playing the game of it's just like he's actually advertising to people with my interests. So like he's spending massive sums of money. So they're just shoving it in my face. He's paying for it, even whether I like it or not. Almost is that part of it as well?
It could be, but a lot of the times, from what I've heard, seen, and known, is it's very difficult for somebody who curses a lot on camera to promote posts, because whether it's an ad or whether it's a content boost or promotion feature that you're doing through Instagram or Facebook, they don't allow you with their policies to be able to promote profanity.
Yeah.
And so if there's a video that has no profanity, it could be being promoted. But if it's a video that has profanity, then I know it's not being promoted.
Okay, so and again, no disrespect. I think I have respect for the guy.
Yeah.
My question, I was using it as an example of what is too much. Is there too much?
There is, because it starts to devalue, in my opinion. And so what I think Gary's going for is and I'm speaking from my own perspective, I don't know if this is the truth or not, but I find, because I audit everybody, I'm always looking and seeing what's working and what's not, and I'm recognizing patterns.
Sure.
And so what I see is, just to make a comparison, a brand like Andy Frisella might only post once a day, and it's fire. It's great content, or it's either broad or niche, right? It's something that's going to add value to you or connect you to him. He posts stuff about his cars, which is broad, and it's going to get you to be like, yeah, I like cars too. So Andy will post maybe once a day or twice a day, and it creates that yes factor. Andy posted, yes. And then if you rarely go live, it's like, oh my gosh, why is he going live? But if you go live every day, if you post 7 times a day, you create the numbness where it doesn't have as much effect.
Right.
And so Gary posts 5, 6, 7 times a day on average is what I've seen. And there's a couple reasons behind it. One, I believe, is he's burning through his audience to the point where he doesn't care if you don't follow or like him anymore. He's going for the next guy. He's going for the next person, because he's trying to get 5, 10, 20 million followers. So it's that he's moving through everybody. Not that he doesn't value who's following him. And this is my perspective and my audit, is that he's just going so fast forward. He just doesn't care about necessarily. He'll be like, yes, I'll post the same thing 50 times. If you don't like it, don't follow me. Is the value that I'm getting is like, the rule of thumb I've seen is don't post more than breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon or evening, and 1 at night.
Got it.
And that way you can serve the world at different times of the day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner are the most popular times that people will be on.
Right.
And depending on East Coast or international, if you post breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you're hitting all of the different time zones around the world. And so if you post once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and once breakfast, lunch, and dinner, just like eating.
Fair enough.
Right?
Let's move on to now. So I understand. So the idea is there's a balance between posting for like sort of with an outcome of becoming an expert, getting authority in a certain subject, versus just simply having
trying to be famous.
Yeah. But they feed into one another, right? It's sort of a 50-50 split, more or less.
If you do it right,
Yeah.
from my opinion of how I've been able to help people generate tens of millions and hundreds of millions of dollars online, I see it's the perfect connection between intimacy and relevancy of you as a person. I truly connect with your personal brand. And then also, I'm willing to have a monetary exchange with you at some point, because you're also truly an expert and an authority figure, to refer me to someone else's product or to buy your own product. And that's where I find the balance. And I see a lot of people are really heavily leaning on one or the other, and a few people do a good job balancing the two.
Give me an example, if you don't mind, okay, of someone who you think has used this strategy and does not deserve the positioning they've attained and the money they've made. Is it? I mean, I know
he's going to get me in trouble here. He's trying to get me in trouble.
I'm talking. No, and I know that. I don't want to get you in trouble, so I'm not. I never, guys, on this show. Just so you know, I never try to sharpshoot anybody. Stop. I could if I wanted to. What happened with Grant Cardone, he did it to himself. I didn't try. I had no intention of it. I think everyone knows that. I was just trying to get a good interview, and he just shot himself. All right? That was his whatever, okay? His insanity.
I've got an idea of
But
somebody.
is there someone like that you would feel comfortable saying? Because I think it's important. It's a really good, you can dissect one that didn't deserve it and one that did deserve it, and then you see the commas and the differences, and how do you make it sustainable? So
I would say, and this one popped into my mind, is there's somebody from a few years back, I think it was, and it was this young girl who somehow went viral. I don't remember if it was from being on Dr. Phil or a social media video that went viral, but I think she was like the cash me out girl. So I see the video guys are nodding their heads. Cash me out. And I don't even remember much more than that as as like
Cash meow?
some cash me out, like cash me
Oh,
out.
cash me out.
Yeah, like at the gambling tables, cash me out. And so it was like this 13-year-old girl, if I'm getting my numbers right, and she somehow went viral. She was rude, she was obnoxious. From what I remember, I never met her. I don't have this, but from what I saw online, she had this obnoxious personality. It went viral. Guys like Ty Lopez interviewed her to just kind of like intelligently, strategically piggyback off of maybe some of the virality to be able to, have a video on there with cash me out person. So when people search for her,
Sure.
you can piggyback off of that, which is a smart move. And a lot of people like gravitated towards her. I think Logan Paul or, one of those guys did an interview with her. Everyone just started to gravitate towards the PR. I think Good Morning America, this is what happens when something goes viral. Everybody wants to capitalize on it and gravitate towards it. And,
Right.
and she was one of those ones where I remember, I think she started like anything who goes viral and catches the wave and surfs it and doesn't get demolished by it, you can make some money. And again, I don't have any more context and I'm not trying to say
But
anybody.
did she have anything of value to offer?
No, not that I know at all. It was just something that went viral, a rude, distasteful personality and projection about her. And young teenager, very rude and distasteful is the kind of cadence and kind of perception that she had. And that was her brand. And that's what made her go viral. It was like this young, very rude person is just blowing up online. Even like, I think went on Dr. Phil and like just talked so bad to him. It's like anything she did, it was just a disaster. And that's why it went viral. And again, I might be misleading.
Sounds a little Mama June-ish to me.
It was just somebody who went viral, and I remember seeing that because I'm always auditing what's going on online to try to see where there's opportunities and what's happening and kind of recognize the patterns.
And what happened? Was she able to monetize?
I think she was able to monetize it. I don't know if it fizzled out, like because I haven't heard about it online in a while.
Has anyone heard about this girl? No?
Now she's like a rapper.
See, so she probably has if we looked her up, probably has a few million followers on social media, and anyone with a few million followers that gets high levels of engagement could probably monetize that tune to a couple 6 figures or 7 figures if they do it right. So I would use that as an example because I don't want to, and they're looking it up maybe. I don't want to you can just give us the number of followers she has and see where she's at, but I don't want to name anyone in our industry. Again, I don't know people's backgrounds and history.
How about someone that deserves? I don't mind if you promote someone else here. Give me an example of someone who you respect greatly, who became a celebrity from using this. Let's say who became an authority / celebrity that you think actually deserves it and gives value. Not me, because that would be stupid, right? But and I didn't become a celebrity through that means, so it's not a good example, right?
On that note, there's a ton of people that I either have a lot of respect for who are in the kind of education, thought leadership industry, and people that I know and respect from a distance and people who I know personally. There's a lot of people that I could name. One of them do you want me to just give you one specific person? You interviewed him recently. I would say Ed Milet.
Love Ed Milet.
Yeah. Ed's done an amazing job of, I think, not only building a business as a real business person who like truly built a business and built a team and the culture, and then I believe exited it. And then also built his personal brand, not because he wanted, needed, or any reason behind a monetary incentive behind it, which there's nothing wrong with that. I believe making money for creating impact is a good thing. But he wanted to really do it to create impact in the world and only recently started monetizing it. And of course, when you're coming from the right place and you're impacting people, of course, him and Andy did their mastermind and their membership together. And again, like I said, I believe cumulatively in revenue, it's done 8 figures. And that's what happens when you truly show up, authentically serve people, add massive value, find a good balance between niche content and broad content.
Right.
And then, of course, when they made an offer for a mastermind and a membership, 10,000 people apply for it and find a level of service from their membership to their mastermind that's a good fit. And people know, like, and trust Andy and Ed. And so the inevitable partnership for them and their similar energy and values and brands was genius. And so Andy's another really good example of that. 2 guys who've built big businesses, who've built big personal brands, have really showed up and served authentically and have a lot
So when Ed was doing this, and by the way, I think you should all, if you haven't, he was on my show, so you should follow Ed because his stuff is I really like his stuff. I think he's really authentic, and he's got good advice. He really does.
Yeah.
So did he do this by putting was it a content driven strategy?
He did a big push from what I understand, and ironically, and much love to Ed, he was actually through a connection at one of my workshops on personal branding, and I remember we chatted, and he said, I got this huge explosion to like my first 700,000-800,000 followers, and then it kind of plateaued off. And I said, well, there's only really a couple ways to do that. You pay for massive, promotions, or you don't, and you get a ton of your famous friends to shout you out and tag you and say, finally, Jordan's online, finally, Ed's online, and all your famous friends with 1 million followers shout you out.
Sure.
And he's like, that was the one right there, that was it. And I said, oh, cool. I was like, so that's why you got huge growth, and then it flatlined. And if you look, you can see, guys appear on the internet, all of a sudden, boom, they blow up, they get 1 million followers, and then for 6 months, they get no followers. How did you get 1 million and then flatline? And it's simple, because there's strategies for growth. Why does Gary go from 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, 6 million every single year? Because he's paying massive amounts of money for that growth. And so if your friends shout you out...
Do you think it's profitable? Is it profitable? Is it part of a longer-term strategy?
It's part of a longer-term strategy. If he wanted it to be profitable, he could make more offers. I believe that it is profitable because indirectly and directly there's correlation where you make money. For example, speaker fees, sponsorships, partners, promos, building a list, building a following, all of the indirect ways you can monetize that short-term and long-term are huge. There's a lot of subtle ways that you can make money as well through ads revenue. Like on YouTube, if you're getting a lot of people to watch your channel, but you're never selling anything, YouTube pays you a percentage. So there's a lot of indirect and direct ways to monetize a big following. I believe Gary probably recoups his money at a multiple just from his speaker fees because he speaks a lot. And then anytime he wants, depending on what's in his bio or swipe up, that could send people to some source of a monetary element. And that's like a subtle thing because it's just a link in bio. Partnerships and sponsors that might subtly be promoed that doesn't seem like a hard promo.
So let's bring it back to the smaller person who's like just getting started, right? Well, like who has something, but they want to like what's the like is there a couple like little hacks, for lack of a better word, that take someone who's, has some level of authority, maybe not online authority, but they really are like someone, they're really great at something, and they, what's the first step? If we could break it down to steps, what would the first step be to someone that like had a little bit of success? Let's say they're not super rich, but they've got enough authority that it's not a bogus. Well, like there's a lot of bogus people out there, right?
I got you.
So give me an example. What's the first step?
So I'm going to fly through them, and then I'll let you tell me where you want to go deeper. First step, find the problem you want to solve. If you have a high income skill set, let's just use, you want to pick the topic for me so I'm not picking
digital marketing.
Digital marketing, perfect. So if you have a high income skill set or you want to have a higher income skill set, get the distinction?
Yeah.
So you either already have the digital marketing skill set, and hopefully you're always getting better, or you want to have a high income skill set. We're going to call it digital marketing because that is a high income skill set. We've identified the problem you want to solve. If you're doing digital marketing, it's because you're going to help small businesses or some demographic and niche and vertical. You're going to help them get more awareness, more leads, more customers. That's the problem you're helping them solve. I would broadly just make a stat up and say 90% of businesses at least want more awareness, more leads, and more customers, if not 100%. So that's the problem you're going to solve. You're going to do it through digital marketing. You're going to find a niche. Remember niche and broad? Niche content, broad content. You're going to find a niche to serve, and then you're going to start creating content as the expert for them. So digital marketers,
like a niche meaning one industry within to target.
Perfect. So you're going to do digital marketing just for dentists.
Oh,
that's an example.
I did consulting for one of those companies.
There you go.
Terrific too, yeah.
Digital marketing just for plumbers. Digital marketing just for window repairs, car repairs, et cetera, et cetera. It could just go on and on and on. So you got the high income skill set, the problem that's being solved, and you've picked your niche. So now you stand out and you're speaking just to one audience. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go on social media and you're going to start creating content like we mapped out your topic wheel. You're going to have a topic wheel of all the different ways you would help them. Why are they not getting enough customers in the door? How can you help them do that? Show them case studies of people you've helped work with. Break down all the different things you would do for them and produce content around digital digital marketing as a whole and digital marketing specifically for dentists. So that if you don't want to produce a lot of content on social media just for digital marketing for dentists, but you could just do digital marketing as a whole and produce lots of content around that. A couple of them could be specifically just in the context of dentists. Then you're also going to have your personal branding strategy be, in addition to niche content about digital marketing, you're also going to have it be broad content. Anything that you believe, books you're reading, tips and strategies for your morning habits and rituals, someone you met, a conference you went to and learned something new, a vacation you went on, things you value and believe, and hobbies and passions of yours. Share lots of different broad things.
So is it important that the broad content somewhat relates to the niche content? In other words,
Not necessarily, no.
You know what I'm saying though?
Like you showing something on a flashback photo to you and your son doesn't have to do with sales unless we wanted to politically try to weave it away. And
I guess though what I'm saying is I don't think I'm a good example because I'm a celebrity from a movie and there's a whole thing about my.
So I'll use myself as an example.
I'm saying no, it's for the guy. Well, let's stick with the dentist example.
Cool.
So I really want to understand this. So a guy is trying to become an expert at digital. He wants to be known as the authority figure in digital marketing for dentists.
Yep.
Is there some of the supporting broad content that would interest dentists, or could it just be life content?
In an ideal scenario, yes, the dentist would be like, I also like
fishing,
squash,
and
fishing and whatever else. I also really like whatever dentist would like if there was some stereotypical thing that they liked. Do you get my point? And if your niche is super specific, then it could be.
So in other words, there's some obviously don'ts. Like you don't want to be putting up porn related. I wouldn't say porn, but racy stuff. Going to doctors. It's sort of got to be some
You'd
relation.
Be like on vacation with your family and be like, I'm so grateful that I'm able to take my family on vacation and allocate it. That would be broad content that people would all relate to.
Right.
Or you'd be like, I'm at the car show right now. So cool to see these cars here. I really love cars. And people would be like, yeah, I like cars too.
But going out there and doing something like partying in a nightclub with friends.
If you were, for example, and I don't say this in a negative way, but if you were going after maybe like the Ty Lopez approach, where his audience, which was genius, and he's made a ton of money and served a lot of people with this, no bad, good, or neutral. It's just his audience was the younger college kid who wanted to make money, and so he would show them the aspirational outcomes that they would want. And so his broad content would be partying.
That's what I mean.
And cars and houses and girls and yachts. And then his niche content would be teaching. So Ty's done an amazing job.
That's what I'm saying.
Of doing broad.
There was some congruency between his broad content and his niche content.
So as a dentist, they're probably not raging on the weekends. They're probably going out at whatever. I'm just going to say like the yacht club or on vacation.
Stuff imagine he would be a great idea of broad content. Imagine if it was like Halloween, you took your kids to a patch of pumpkins and that.
There you go.
That would be something, right? Because they're all family oriented.
Exactly.
Right.
So broad things.
So the idea was to have the broad stuff somewhat at least.
The broad content should connect us.
Right. Yeah.
That's the way to put it.
Right.
The broad content should connect us.
Connect you to the people that are in that also want to look at you as an authority figure.
Like if you had, when I got sick last year and almost died, and I immediately knew I'm going to post stuff about this because it'll connect me. Everyone's either been sick and almost died or knew someone who was sick and died. So it was like, boom, that has nothing to do with my business, but that'll make people be like, oh man, and that'll create a connection there. So it's like anything in your life that people could relate to, and they could either get some type of motivation, inspiration, happiness, joy, something from it, from a broad, like cars. Even if I might not get something from the car, someone else might love the fact that Andy Frisello is always posting about his cars because they also love cars, or Harley Davidsons or whatever. Or I went hiking out in the woods and it was so great, and someone else on your following is like, oh, I love being out in nature. And so you'd post things about your fishing trip, because then people would be like, whoa, it's so cool to see Jordan not just talk about sales, but to see him fishing on the weekend with his sons and talk about how amazing that is. You get it?
It's interesting, intuitively, see, this is where I think I got it wrong, okay? Because I'm older, and I come from, and also because I think that I learned the power of being a bit more humble. Like in my younger days, when I bought yachts and jets and all this sort of stuff, and I said to myself, I don't post any flash online Well, I certainly could have, and you see, I have a nice
Yeah, yeah.
house. I mean, I could
Yeah.
post cars and all. So I didn't because I thought that maybe it would be like it's almost like cheesy. But you don't. But that's probably old thinking. Would
There's
seem
a, yeah,
like.
so the
You
elegance
get
and
what I'm saying? It's like
of course, and the elegance and the art to it, and this is what I found is the best way to post something that would be considered a brag, right? Like, oh, he's bragging.
that's exactly what I mean.
Exactly. So here's the way to do it. The way that you post something that someone would perceive as bragging is you say, I can remember when I was digging through trash cans. I can remember when I slept on my friend's couch. I can remember when I begged my family to help me pay the bills. I can remember this terrible adversity and story that I went through, and seeing cars drive by that were nice and wondering how nice that must be. Seeing people walk into the restaurant and order food while I was outside begging for it. I can remember pain, and wondering how nice it must be just for these people to live a normal life. Flash forward 20 years, I'm a multimillionaire, billionaire. I have a Bentley, the mansion, the this, and it's so amazing to see how far I've come. So whatever you're going through, just know you can overcome it because I have been through my own version of pain and adversity.
I
and
love
I
that.
overcame it.
That's really smart.
And
why I
that's how
hired-
you post
And
the
that's why I
brand.
hired you. No, because it's true. Because I've
So
struggled.
now
I have
it's
struggled with this.
inspirational
Yeah.
instead of bragging.
Because I struggle with this. I have. I steered so far away from posting anything that of opulence because I said like, oh, people know I have money. Like, it's almost like I get it. So there's
Yeah.
the idea is positioning basically.
It's all as it always is, right? And so it's like if someone just told you the end of the story, it loses its juice. If someone just told you the punchline to the joke, it loses the juice. If someone just shows you the flash, after a while, it loses the juice. And so take the time to finesse your audience and tell them a little bit of the story. And that's the key is when you're posting broad content.
Okay.
Niche content, go to the kill.
Got it.
Get
Sure.
right in, provide the value, no
Got it.
fluff. Broad content, if it's a brag or if it's a vacation or if it's a thing like that, have a little fun with it. Post the finesse
I totally
and
get it.
flash back to the past because that's probably where your audience is.
All right, let's keep going with our steps now. So so where were we? I forgot.
So we've identified the problem is helping people generate awareness, leads, and customers. That's the problem. We know that 90% or 100% of businesses need that, but we don't want to compete and speak to everyone because we'll speak to no one. So we want to niche down and dial our message to market match in. That's going to be in this made-up scenario. Digital marketing specifically for dentists. We understand that I'm going to find my balance for my personal brand content strategy of niche, how I'm solving the problem and positioning myself as a digital marketing expert, and occasionally diving in specifically teaching digital marketing for dentists. But digital marketing as a whole could be my content for my niche.
Sure.
And just to establish myself as an expert there. Then I'm also going to post broad content in some of the hypothetical examples we gave. Now that's my content strategy. I'm going to rinse and repeat that over and over again until my content, my awareness, my engagement, my following, and everything starts to go up. Plus, it's also kind of like my resume. If somebody looks me up, validates me, makes an introduction, they can go to my website. But nowadays, especially younger people, I don't go to your website to see if you're legit. I go to your social media. So social media becomes your new resume and calling card, and it's so much better than a website, which has a bunch of templatized BS that most people follow and get the same guy to make for them, and they all use that as their benchmark. But it doesn't speak to anybody. It doesn't create any connection, relevancy, or intimacy or value. So when I go to your social media, it's a way better resume. I can see how many people follow you, engage with you, and I can see basically a whole news feed of who you are as a person. Hiring managers decide who they're going to hire based on what they see on social media, and what I found is prospective clients go on social media to decide who they want to hire nowadays as well. And if they can see a timeline of who you are and get to know, like, and trust you instantly on a newsfeed and go all the way as deep down as they want to see who you are and what you post and the value, boom, I have people that literally feel like they know me and see me at events and they come up to me like they're a best friend and I have no idea who they are because they follow me on social media long enough. They start talking about my personal life, my business life. And I'm like, and my wife, Jenna, gets used to this. But in the beginning, she was like, this is so weird. Do you know that person? And I'm like, no idea who they are. But it's because I post, they'll be like, Jenna, it's nice to meet you. Oh, you're cute little dog Biscuit. Sure. And it's like they know our life so well because I do a perfect job balancing it. The privacy, sure, I find a good balance for that. But there's an elegance and an art to posting things about your personal life and your business life and weaving the two together to make it feel like 100,000 or 1 million people feel like they've sat at your dinner table and broken bread and cheers wine with you because you create that through your because at a dinner table, the best dinner that meeting that you've probably had was when the business person didn't just talk business, but when you laughed and you shared stories.
Right, yeah.
Exactly. And so That's what you want to do, is you want to create that I sat down with Jordan Belfort and had dinner with him mentality. We broke bread, we laughed, we shared stories, and also learned a lot. That's the feeling I should walk away with when I follow you on social media after a few months. Like I've been invited into your personal life and we've broken bread. So now we established that as the content marketing strategy. It's going to create the intimacy, the know, like, and trust, the relevancy, the context, and really separate you as your top primary asset, because there's other digital marketers out there who can serve dentists, but none of them have created the relationship that you have with the personal connection and the personal brand. That's why it becomes the Trojan horse to blowing up all your marketing, because now no one can copy you, because you might sell the same thing, but you're always going to work with the person that you feel like you know, like, and trust.
So how do you then, what's the place when you then, so you started off with a great point saying people don't go online and say, I'm going online to buy something, right? So what's the crossover now? So you've become an authority figure, right? You've connect them to you personally so they trust you. How do you then go about monetizing? I mean, I know it's not a 2-minute conversation, but give me just like some simple, so everyone can understand like sort of the basic strategy.
So from a basic perspective, there's a couple different things you could do. And again, this is agnostic to other industries, verticals, products, service offerings. We're just using digital marketing with dentists as a hypothetical example. But one of the things you want to make sure you do is you have some type of a strong lead magnet, which really just means there's a link in my bio and it's going to take you to a free training that's going to cover 3 case studies where we worked with different types of dentists across the country and helped them generate more leads, generate more sales, and double their business in the first 90 days. And it's 3 case studies broken down on video showing you step by step exactly what we did to help them so you can see how to do it yourself. And so now when I'm following you on social media, your broad content connects me to you and makes you kind of feel more personal. Your niche content provides me the perception and the reality that you're an authority figure and know what you're doing. And then if I want at any given time, I can tell you in my content, or you'll logically know to look through conditioning of how social media works. If I want to learn more and you're smart, you probably have a link in your bio that takes me to your website or some type of a lead magnet. It magnetizes leads. So if I'm following you as the digital marketer dentist person, inevitably some of your content on the niche content, or just inevitably if I want, I can be directed up to your bio and that'll say, here's a case study where I show you how I helped 3 dentist practices double their revenue in 90 days. And I break it down step by step so you can do the same thing. They'd click the link. It would go over to a landing page where they'd give you their name, email, and phone number. There'd be a headline, maybe a video or a photo, some bullet points of the value they're going to receive. They're going to go, wow, this is really good stuff. They'd register because they're a dentist who wants to grow their business. And then it would take them with their name, email, and phone number into a series and a campaign and a funnel that would then educate them on how you help people.
And this is where I come in. That's why I get hired by digital marketers. We got to call them on the phone now.
Exactly. So now you generated the leads, and that's where the sales come in.
And that's where sales comes in, right?
And so that's why when you combined, and that's why our logo, Shorten the Gap, under the logo says sales, marketing, and personal branding. Because I believe nowadays in today's economy, it's been like this for a long time. Businesses have always hired Kobe Bryant and LeBron James and Michael Jordan to endorse their products. But now because of social media, everyone can be famous. It wasn't just only people who had the privilege of being on TV or magazine or radio. Now we have this thing called social media, which in my opinion destroys every other medium, because I can reach the world and I can target people and I can pay people and I can retarget people and I can pixel people and I have more data. So social media gives everybody the opportunity to be famous, to be known, to create impact, to raise money for their charity, to sell products. And so when you combine personal branding with good marketing strategy and a good sales strategy or team, and you combine those 3, you become unstoppable.
I agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. Like we danced for a while together. We did some stuff. It worked out great. We had fun. We get along. But the reason I hired you is I couldn't shoot a hole in the logic of your thinking. Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's fucking logical. And I love that. Yeah. So why don't you, so to sum this all up here, right? So,
and the rabbit hole obviously goes deeper, but.
Right. No, I know. No, but I think it's amazing. I mean, it was an incredible amount of content you just gave here and insight. And I learned a lot, actually, which is interesting because, one of the things in terms of just the idea of how do you do things in a tasteful way, right?
Yeah.
What do you think is so the obvious mistake people make is they go on, they buy ads. They try right. That's an
Yeah,
obvious. Okay, so let's not use that. That's like I mean, I think you made that crystal clear that the biggest mistake you make is you try to go and advertise on Facebook, right?
Because you went to a conference.
Right. And they said advertise on Facebook.
And
Right.
some guy said, if you're not running ads
Instagram,
online,
yeah,
you're
right,
dead.
okay.
But they left out 90% of the context.
What's the second biggest mistake that people make?
I would think the second biggest mistake people make when it comes to in the context, there's a lot of mistakes people make if we're just spouting off mistakes, but in the context of personal branding, social media, and marketing, I think one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of people make that I've seen in my experience of working with thousands of individuals is they think that they have to wait to be qualified. They have to wait to be given permission. They have to wait to be some definition of credible and successful to feel worthy of producing content
versus acting as if or just putting their best selves
versus
in.
acting as if or saying, hey, here's where I'm at. Follow my journey and watch what I do.
Right.
And then after 6 to 12 to 18 months, people go, damn, he or she did it.
Right.
I've seen them explode. The problem that I see is, and this is not a problem for a lot of these people, but I feel their audience missed their journey. I wish I could go scroll down Instagram or Facebook or any of the other apps out there, and I could see Steve Jobs struggling in the garage and know that he actually did it. Know that I saw him in the garage down the newsfeed, and I could slowly scroll up each year and see he progressed. And Ed Mylett just appeared on social media as the $400 million man. I know a lot of people wish they could have scrolled down and seen Tony Robbins when he was young because social media didn't exist, or it does exist and these people felt they needed to wait to show up online when they were successful. I think the biggest mistake people are making is that they are not posting on social media their journey. They're only posting the highlights, and then when they're successful, they no longer have the journey, so they can only post the highlights. So the wannabes are renting stuff, walking down the alleyway and seeing a car and taking a photo with it. They're faking it until they make it, so then it's real. And what they're missing out on is that people want the journey. That's why Oprah's a billionaire. She shared the journey from 30 years ago to now. None of the other people have done a good job of that. You can literally become, I think, a billionaire if you just share the journey, because if you're in business for 30 years, starting now, being year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, start sharing the journey, share the ups, share the downs, and share where you're at in its reality in its entirety, broad and niche, and let people follow the journey because they'll feel the authenticity and they'll feel the journey of the growth is real and they won't question how it happened. I work with a lot of successful people, as you know, that they only have the success. They don't have any footage from the journey. It's even hard to find stuff from back then because they had no money to even document it.
Right.
And there wasn't social media and accessibilities of cameras on smartphones. So a lot of the baby boomers that I work with that are really successful, they only have like a couple photos from their past.
Yeah,
and so
I struggle with too. Like I'm lucky because I have like,
of course,
footage from a movie, but it's true though. I always find like, shoot, if I only had that stuff when I was selling ices on the beach, and in the meat business, the early stuff. It didn't exist. There was no.
But it does now.
You had a Bell and Howell, 8 mil, 9 mil. It was the craziest thing. My dad had that,
But nowadays with the internet and having 4K and HD video cameras and phone on our phones, you can document the journey. And I see so many people who message me, reach out to me, talk to me at events and stuff, and they're always saying, Mark, when's the best time for me to start? I'm not successful enough to start yet, so when should I start? And I'm always like, no. In the meantime, share the journey and facilitate and broker advice from experts like yourself. So if you're a young sales guy watching this and you want to learn how to become a sales expert, don't you dare try to claim that you're an 18, 19, 20-year-old sales expert.
Right.
Instead, find unique ways to facilitate and share true expertise from someone like yourself and be like, hey, here's advice from Jordan Belfort. Here's advice from this. Here's advice from this. I just read this book. I just went to the seminar and share the journey.
It's easy enough to do.
Exactly. So now people are getting the advice because a lot of the times the well-named person who wrote the book and did the seminar isn't on social media the way they should be. So you can facilitate their information as an extension of them And people will follow you, ironically, because the person you're sharing the information from doesn't have the time, energy, capacity, knowledge, or team to produce the short form content, doesn't know the value of producing the short form content, so that no one can follow that person for the short form content. So the only extension of their short form content is you. You can become the extension of the Pulitzer Prize winner, New York Times bestseller.
I get it.
In short form video online,
That's a service to itself, by the way.
People will only be able to find the short form content of the experts through you, because the experts don't have social media and short form videos. So truly, you can facilitate and build a personal brand as the extension and reflection of all the top books and mentors. Give credit where it's due. And after years of tracking your journey, you go from facilitating and sharing their stuff to being the expert yourself. Boom! Yeah. And that's how you can get started. And
I love that. That was a great one. I love that. Was a great tip. All right, guys, listen, wow. How long have we been going for?
An hour.
Hour. Wow.
Cool.
That was, what can I say? now I know why I hide. I always know why I hide. Anyway, guys, listen, how do we follow you? How do you should follow the guys like an encyclopedia on personal branding. And I think what you do well, by the way, is there's people who do personal branding, there's people who do marketing. The reason I kind of was attracted to what you do is you kind of merge it together in actual, an elegant, cohesive, monetizable unit, one unit that sort of makes it all make sense. Sort of it bridges the gap, because if you're good at one and not the other, or it's sort of you get results. You don't, but you don't get that real bang when you see someone blow up. You can inevitably point to what they did and say, wow, you know what? These things, these elements somehow lined up. So you're an expert essentially taking a company and lining up the elements for them of personal branding, marketing / sales.
You got it, exactly.
You should hire the guy, but I have him under contract for a while.
Exactly,
when he's
I'm
done
busy.
With me, when
I'm
he's
busy.
done with me. Okay, anyway, guys, listen, another awesome AAA episode of The Wolf's Den with Mark Lack, a true expert in his field, guys. Check him out, and remember, share this with your friends. Follow me on, what's it called? Instagram.
And
Facebook,
everywhere else.
And everywhere else. All right, guys, love you all, and until next time.